before I do, I know I don't need to say this, but I want to say it. You know, I encourage you to continue to have faith in your senior staff. You have great people around you. And as you continue to transition, you should recognize the expertise in the different departments, and you know, no need to clean house. I just, you know, no need to say it, but I feel the need and want to do so.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eng, for speaking with us tonight. Although we are in an auditorium that has a decent number of people here, I think it's better if we envision us and you addressing a crowd that could fill Citi Field. Because while people are busy with their lives, many on the Babylon line tonight actually couldn't get here because of some train-related issues. This, in terms of concerns for Long Islanders, ranks at the top.
I share the comments that my colleagues have made. Two issues I ask you to comment on. One, the Warrenthal Railroad Station and the status of that program and that elevator or non-elevator.
Also here primarily because of one station and that we've had conversations with. And out of respect for him, I'm going to ask that the mayor of Lynbrook Island Beach get up and say a few words on it before I do, just because it's his village. And I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity.
Thank you.
Phil, I'm Alan.
Thank you.
I see a starting of a great relationship, friendship here. As I explained to you outside, and I didn't take much of your time because we pretty much covered a lot of things outside. But Lynbrook has been fighting this battle for 10 years. It's deplorable, the condition of our station. I know you walked through it. My concern is we do a half project, we're still left with a deplorable situation. Safety is a concern, yes, but aesthetics to our village is another concern. That's a very big concern for the residents. Lynbrook has been left. It's time for a fix. It's time for Lynbrook residents to have what they should have. A new station, not a fix. A brand new station from Peninsula Boulevard all the way down, actually right over to Sunrise Highway. It's deplorable the conditions we're dealing with. Can you give me a time frame of what we're going to do? And I do appreciate the fact that you did say we would get together and speak.
And just before you respond to that, just because I know that we have a lot of Lynbrook riders here tonight, and I just think it's important for them to understand where we find ourselves.
So there you have heard some examples of intimidation that they are using toward Phil Eng. And it's obvious from the MTA board, Elisa Picca, and the previous Nowakowski administration that the folks from Wall Street are still running the show. And Phil Eng means a lot. Now, people are going to blame him. They want these problems are occurring because they want these problems to occur. The senior management is behind all of this. And Phil Eng is a good guy. I think genuinely think he does care about us here on the main line. He cares about all riders, and that just drives the folks on the Babylon branch crazy. And so they're willing to do just about anything to make him look bad. And this is why I think Phil Eng, maybe he's too nice because he needs to fire his senior staff. He needs to fire Elisa Picca. He needs to fire a lot of the people that were put in place there by Patrick Nowakowski, all right? He's not doing it because he's afraid. He's afraid of these people. We cannot be afraid of these people. We cannot be afraid of them. And Phil Eng needs to stand up because, you know what? I worry either way. You know, when I met up, when we had that, you saw it in that last part of the video from the Lynbrook, from the, because so many people are talking about Lynbrook, but from the Adelphi open house there back, I think, in June. And I met with Charlton D, and I saw. We actually had a long conversation after this meeting, and he thinks they're going to force Phil Eng out. Charlton, if he's watching this video, I totally agree with you. I'm very worried about this, but this is why we have to inform people. All right, that what they're trying to do. The folks in the Babylon branch want to take back control. They want to screw us again with hourly service. They want to screw us again on the main line. All right, and we still get screwed. Maybe less. Still get screwed on the main line. And people in Lynbrook complaining about their station being decrepit. Oh my God, it's comical. It really is comical. And Phil Eng, I really hope you're watching this video because you need to take some action about this. This is about your reputation. We've had 3 derailments now in the past 3 weeks. Maybe even less than 3 weeks. We have constant problems. Things aren't getting better, and I know it's not your fault. It's the senior management. That's what I tried to tell you at the public the committee meeting last week. All right, and please, you need to do what's right and fire Elisa Picca. You start with her. Elisa Picca was put in place by Patrick Nowakowski. She was hired by Patrick Nowakowski, all right? She's looking out for the folks on the Babylon branch. She lives in Massapequa Park. Patrick Nowakowski lives in Babylon, all right? They are looking out for the folks on the Babylon branch, all right? And they are still sabotaging this railroad. They are still sabotaging this railroad. This woman is always looking over Mr. Eng's shoulder, always keeping her eye on him to make sure he doesn't mess up her Babylon branch too much. Elisa Picca, you need to resign now or be fired by Phil Eng, and Joe Loda needs to be a man and fire your ass, but Joe Loda could care less about us. We know that. Phil Eng, you need to fire this woman now. Now. All right? Not tomorrow, not next month. Now, because if you don't, these people will take full control again. They will take full control of the railroad. All right? Nowakowski, the ghost of Nowakowski, he doesn't work for the railroad anymore officially, but he and his crew are still controlling things and trying to sabotage you, Mr. Eng. All right? And I'm addressing this to you, Phil Eng, because you need to do something now about this. Now. All right? We cannot be intimidated by these Wall Street people. All right? I don't care how much money they have or what kind of political connections they have to Cuomo. You are the president of the Long Island Railroad, and it is in your power to fire your senior staff and replace them with competent people, because we cannot have, as I said in my speech, we cannot have the real change we need if people from the old administration are still working at the railroad and still in charge. And today, despite all the chaos, I grabbed this train, 456 from Atlantic Terminal, 540 at Freeport, and my choice of seats, it was empty. I'm sure there was nothing like this on the main line. It just goes to show you, even on a bad day, the Babylon branch is still better than the main line. And we all know why this is, to inflate the real estate prices, to have that little enclave for the Wall Street, lily-white finance professionals. Well, I'm not going to stand for it. And Phil Eng, you're in a position of power. You don't have to stand for it either. Now let's get to the problems today. Well, I was going to give you a list of all the trains canceled and affected by this derailment today, but the MTA has removed that pit list from the website. We have no access to that list anymore. From what I can remember, most of the Babylon Trump flyers were canceled. There were a couple of Long Beach trains that were also canceled, and I think three Huntington trains, the 327, the 327, the 506, and the 630 were canceled. Those trains on the main line were canceled. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. There is no official press release from the MTA on what happened today. But from what I understand, and what we will look at momentarily, there was a derailment, a minor derailment of a Port Washington branch train near the Harold interlocking. So this all started about 8 hours ago. According to the Twitter, there was a derailed axle west of Woodside, and the Port Washington branch wound up being completely suspended as a result of this. And then there was cancellations, and then there was a 12:45 from Algonquin to Greenport. That was a diesel breakdown. A 12:49 from Penn to Port Washington and 1:35 canceled. 1:19 from Penn to Port Washington canceled. So the Port Washington branch was impacted by most of this problem. Customers who were on board the train with the derailed axle have been safely moved to another train and are en route to their destinations. And there were major impacts to the rush hour. On the Port Washington branch, westbound service wound up being suspended. And the 249 from Penn, Port Washington canceled. So Port Washington was impacted the most because it was on their tracks. But this had ripple effects on the entire railroad. As you can see here, the 457 from Penn to Wantagh 542 was canceled due to a train with two derailed axles west of Woodside. So they combined basically all the flyers, and I don't really do this anymore, but let's take a look and see how the Babylon branch people are going to complain about this. I really don't want to, actually. I don't want to. So eastbound train traveling to Port Washington they basically had a transfer for a shuttle train for service from Flushing Main Street through Port Washington. So they had a transfer through a shuttle because of this. Real major impacts. All the flyers were combined and canceled. And then there was a track condition east of Mineola that's been ongoing throughout the day here. Track condition east of Mineola. And I just got a message from one of my users saying Metro North in Connecticut was having problems too. I think this weather is really, this record humidity is having an effect on the trains. I think it is having an effect on the trains. And I'm sure the Long Island Railroad will wind up blaming Amtrak for this because it's on there. Harold is owned by Amtrak. So also, Port Jefferson diesel trains will all add stops at Hicksville and Huntington. And westbound Port Washington branch will be suspended temporarily after the 405 4th 8 train from Port Washington. So and then the westbound service resumed. 511 from Penn to Washington, and then all these cancellations on the Port Washington branch. Like I said, the Port Washington branch was impacted very heavily due to this. Because of this, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this like I used to, but I just want to show you all the impacts that this had for everybody at every single branch of the railroad today, and no mention of it on News 12. So 10 to 15 minute delays to Penn, but there were other issues going on also. And these are the flyers again getting canceled. Oh, I can't resist. Let's see. Did the 547 even stop at Freeport? It wasn't on the board. Why does the Babylon? Oh yeah, get shafted. We got shafted too. Everybody got shafted. But they just complained the loudest, so you know that's what it is. 605 Penn. That was also, you can also see some complaints about the 605. Does Mr. Eng still work for the Long Island Railroad? He's not in control. He's not in control. That's what we talked about in the beginning of this video. 536 from Penn to Babylon. Again, that happened. That always happens. 15 to 20 minutes because of the earlier derailment delays. And then this track condition in Mineola, still ongoing issue here with the main line here. Ongoing issue again due to, I think this humidity is having an effect, but I think it could be either one of two things, and I really can't be sure what it is. It's either the humidity or what we talked about earlier. You know, really, let's see if we can get some pictures of this derailment and pictures of what the scene was like there in Penn. I can't find many pictures. Here's one. You know, Matt probably is able to provide you with a lot more information on this, and you can always watch his channel. That is actually a thunderstorm in the background there, but this is what the derailed train looked like. So apparently they decoupled the rest of the train from it, and those are the two cars that were derailed right around that switch at Harold. Yeah, and then we had this. Let's not forget this, that didn't happen that long ago here. You know, and the MTA hid this. So, big problem. Big problems on the trains again. Where was the Overcon president? Of course they're going to blame him, but that's the idea. I think that the senior management is trying now to sabotage the railroad, to make Phil Eng look bad, and eventually, I really think Phil Eng is on borrowed time, unfortunately. Look at this crowd here, waiting to get on the train here. It's like a train in India, almost. You've seen those pictures. You know, really ridiculous. This is not the way people should be treated, and the governor is completely absent from this. Completely absent. And after all this, I get back to Mineola, and I see a drunk just passed out right in the middle of the station. This is like what I used to see in Westbury, all right? But this is what is going on. They're trying to destroy the middle of the island. They're trying to have their little enclave on the South Shore. And they're now they're desperate to force Phil Eng out. He's the only one who's trying to bring some fairness to us here on the main line. And once they get him out, they can go full tilt on screwing us again. All right? And our community will be destroyed. This affects communities. All right? This will become Westbury. All right? If these people get full power back, they are hell-bent on turning Mineola and every town on the main line into the next Westbury. Full of illegals, full of bums, full of problems, full of neglect. That's what they want to do so they can drive up the real estate prices on the South Shore in those towns. All right? That's what they want to do. So it'll cost $1 million. And sorry, if you're not a lily white finance professional, you're going to have to live with this crap in your community. All right? That's what they want. That's what Andrew Cuomo wants. I can't say it enough. These corporate Democrats are not out to look out. They are out to screw the middle class. They are out to screw the minorities, especially people of color, especially, they say that they're in our corner, but they're really in Wall Street's corner. Look at them. Do these look like people that are going to give a damn about the poor, the middle class, or fairness? Or do they look like kind of people that are only looking out for their own kind? They're lily white Wall Street friends. That's what they're looking out for. All right? That's what they're looking out for. And they're out to screw us. And we get screwed. If they get away with it, folks, the Pine Barrens also get ruined. Because the Pine Barrens are mostly in the middle of the island. They get ruined. We'll get more homeless in there. We'll get more neglect. We'll get more trash. This is what 4 more years of Andrew Cuomo will do to us here on Long Island. And what they want is to force us out, the middle class, lower income, the disabled, so they can turn Long Island and sectionalize it and balkanize it into the areas where the winners are, where the lily white finance professionals are, and the areas where all the people that are going to work for them and mow their lawns, like all the illegals, are going to live, and all the criminals and all the other stuff. There will be no middle class, and they'll tell you, well, if you want to have safe Pine Barrens, if you don't want to have to deal with those problems, then you're not welcome here. Go live in New Jersey. That's what they want. They'll want us to sweat it out in New Jersey. No thanks, Andrew Cuomo. No thanks, Elisa Picca. No thanks, Patrick Nowakowski, Vinny Tessitore, or anyone else who's trying to intimidate us right now, because we're not going to stand for it. We have to stand up and fight to save our island. All right? I am not going to sweat it out in New Jersey. No freaking way. You need to go, Andrew Cuomo. All of you need to go. We need to take back our island from this madness. That's it.